Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network. Oh, I am super excited to talk with her again today because this is a topic that many of us ponder but don't have full understanding. I'm talking about karma. In my understanding, there is good karma, there is bad karma. Many of us focus on the bad karma. Many of us hope karma comes to those who do us wrong. How does that actually work? And I'm going to interject another word here, intention. We're going to learn about that today from somebody who is an animal communicator. She does psychic readings. She has many great books, CDs, even does classes by phone. Very spiritual, very knowledgeable. I have learned so much from her in a very short period of time. And I've talked to many people about these topics. So we're going to learn more today from Shirley Scott, who's back with us. How are you doing today?
I'm doing well, Steve. How are you doing?
Class is in session. The student is ready.
All right.
So karma, let's focus on that. And, many of us want to see the karma train come up, the karma police knock on somebody's door to give them what we feel they deserve. Your definition of karma, what is it?
It is, revenge is mine, saith the Lord. That's karma. Karma is what you get back with the intent that you put out. Intent and karma go hand in hand. Karma is if you put out something nasty, you're going to get something nasty back. If you put out good, you're going to get good back. So karma, and we never know how somebody's karma is going to come back to them. We all want to see it, right? We all want to go, okay, let's see this. But we may never see it. We may never know that their struggles that they're having in their life that we can't see is their karma. And the more that we want to see somebody's bad karma, the more we're creating karma for ourselves, actually. Excuse me. We have to understand that intent is the beginning of good or bad karma.
I'm trying to process this. Let's put it into the perspective of somebody did us wrong. And it was clear. They knew what they were doing was wrong. And not to say that everybody is perfect. And some can say, well, there's a reason they did that because of this. But let's say that the scales were tipped so far to the other side that there is just no denying what somebody did. Just horrible.
Yeah.
You're looking at them thinking, well, they're going to get theirs. Someday, karma is going to come back to them. Will it?
It will. It will, because the intent is the energy. And it's like any other energy. It goes out and it finds what that intent was. So if the intent was to hurt you, it's going to find hurtful energy. And then it will come back to them. Everything we put out has to come back to us because on an energetic level, it's still attached to us. It's part of our energy. So it has to come back to us in some way. Us meaning
the person who did the wrongdoing.
Exactly. Yeah, okay. Because it's part of their energy. They created it. It's theirs. Nobody else created that.
Okay. So my understanding too is it's not on our time frame. So is it reasonable to think that the karma will come back, if you will? It could be another lifetime.
Yes. Absolutely. And it can come back. We can actually heal it after we cross over to the other side. It's possible to heal karma on the other side. But the intent, and I tell people, if you intend to hurt somebody, that creates bad karma. If your intention is to help somebody, but it happens to go bad, but your real intent, is to help them, is to do something nice, and it doesn't work, that means that you weren't supposed to do it. That does not create bad karma. it means that you weren't supposed to help them, or they were supposed to do it on their own, or it was their own lesson, or maybe it was a lesson for you to learn, not to do that. But if the intent is good, even if it turns out bad, that doesn't mean it's bad karma. A lot of people, want people to do stuff for them. They'll call you, you do this for me, you do that for me. And so the person goes, okay, I'm going to be nice and do it. And then it turns out bad. And so the person that first calls and says, do this for me, blames the person that they called. And they shouldn't, because if the person is trying to do a favor for them, but it turns out badly, it's on the person that wanted somebody else to do it for them in the first place, because it means that they should have done it themselves. They're supposed to learn a lesson there. So there's no bad karma that is created on the person that tried to do the favor and it fell apart.
Person that tried to do the favor and it fell apart. Wow. It's hard to see the lesson in all of this. And even the person that may have done you wrong, ultimately, the person that they hurt learned a lesson from it. Seems like
they both learned a lesson.
Well, that's true. That's absolutely true. But you shouldn't be learning a lesson at the expense of somebody else.
No, you shouldn't, except that the only time you learn a lesson at the expense of somebody else, really, is when your intent is bad. When your intent is good, you learn that, that person was supposed to do it on their own, and you can't take responsibility for them learning that lesson or asking somebody else to do all their work for them. So, it's like somebody asks you to cheat on a test, and you cheat on a test for them, and you fail the test. Whose fault is that?
Exactly. I mean, yeah, that's a clear one.
Okay.
So let's go back to the intent. I just want to get full clarity how the intention drives the karma.
Because the intent is the good or the bad, the evil, the sweetness. The intent that you have drives what goes out there that we call karma to come back. So the intent goes out, and with that intent, you are creating the situation that pulls karma in.
So using the example of somebody who did somebody wrong and the person that got hurt they're hoping they get theirs, but understandable. What should that person do? Now, it's easy to say, okay, you need to forgive them and move on. But when it's something very, let's say very strong that was done out of intentional hurt, the person that created the pain, they knew what they were doing. Again, we're just throwing these hypothetical things out there. And I'm trying to do a very clear case of karma potentially coming back. The person that was hurt, what should they be doing? Because obviously they're going to be saying, heck, hell to be them, all of that. I wish the worst on them. They're going to get there someday, all of that. Is that derailing what they ultimately would be getting?
No. Okay. So when somebody does you wrong, what I do is I do my little mantra, which is give them grace and keep them out of my face.
Wait, I got to remember. I wrote that down. It's on a Post-it note in front of me.
Yeah. So I use that. But, I say to the universe, let them learn and let their karma come back to them when it's supposed to. Because I know that it will. At some point it will. And then I just kind of walk away. And you don't have to do anything else. You really don't, because the energy that is put out by the intent will come. It's like a rubber band. It gets stretched so far, and then one person with the bad intent is hanging on to it, and pretty soon that energy will snap back to them. It has to. That's the law of our galaxy. It has to come back to them. It's like if you think about Uncle Joe long enough, Uncle Joe's going to call you because he's going to get that message. Well, it's the same with an intent. If you're intending to rob somebody and hurt them, you're going to get that back in some way. And I tell everybody that we don't know how that karma is going to come back to them. And people go, well, there are some people that do awful and they're millionaires and they're living this wonderful life. And I say, yeah, but maybe they got cancer and they're going to die early. Or maybe they're so miserable because they're lonely. Or, we don't know what that karma is. The universe takes care of that. And so when somebody hurts us, we have a choice. We can either react to them and do something nasty back, which then creates karma for us. Or we can say, you know what? I don't have to be around that person anymore. I don't have to know them anymore in my life. I can cut them out of my life. I'm going to heal myself from this. I'm going to learn from this, and I'm going to turn around and I'm going to walk away. Which is very hard to do.
Yes, and granted, you're angry at this person for doing what they did. But is it safe to assume you could be angry? You can, maybe in the beginning when it still hurts, wish horrible things on them. Is it safe to reasonably assume that as long as you're not doing something to intentionally hurt them, that the universe is going to take care of them the way they should be taken care of, and you're not going to affect that karma and not going to bring things onto yourself?
That's true. Okay. Except that you don't want to sit around and wish them harm, because then you're doing the same thing that they did to you.
Right.
I had a client one time that was complaining that this person was using, bad names, and, this person just griped her to death because he would put everybody else down and call them names and stuff, and so she started calling him names. And I said, now who's the better person here? You're doing the same thing that person is. And it's easy to be pulled into that energy. It's easy to do that. The hard thing is to say, I don't have to have them in my life anymore. I'm going to learn from this lesson. I'm going to turn around. I'm going to walk away. And they're not going to be able to hurt me again because they're not in my life.
Hard as it may seem, I believe we just have to say, let karma do its thing. Just going to walk away. Have that faith. Have that faith in the universe that it's going to take care of them the way it should take care of them.
Exactly. There are some people that have passed over that had long illnesses, long, painful, and that can be their karma. The prisons are full of people that their karmas come back to them, and so they're suffering every day. It doesn't mean necessarily that if they killed somebody, somebody's going to kill them, because their karma could be actually worse than that. Because I look at death sometimes as a release. We get off this planet with all the other things that are going on, but their karma can be things that would be a suffering or a hardship for them as an individual.
And it seems from what you're saying that we should never consider it an eye for an eye kind of situation based on what you just said. Right. That, it's not going to be, if somebody did this, they're going to get it back. It's not going to work that way. And I completely agree with you in what you said regarding us looking at somebody else. Well, look what they did to me, and they just won $1 million, and everything looks great for them, and everything's fine. And here I am wallowing in my pain. We don't know what's going on behind the scenes.
Exactly. Mm-hmm. And an eye for an eye just creates karma with karma.
Yeah, it's counterproductive in a way.
Very much. Where the bigger person can say, bless them and give them grace, but I don't have to be around them. And walk away from it knowing that somewhere karma always comes back. Our energy always comes back to us. It has to. That's a law of the energy fields that are out there. Our energy will always come back to us. And that's how we get enough energy actually every day to do things, But if we could see the lines that we put out of energy to others and to everything around us, we would, we'd be in this big spider web, literally, with all these energy lines. So to wish somebody else ill will is just as bad as whatever they did to you.
That's a tough one to swallow.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just, you just need to take that step back and just look at it and say, you know what? They'll get theirs. Whenever it's on the universe's time. I know that we live in the Amazon world where, you click a link and it's, well, for most of us, not you, is there by 3 p.m.
Exactly.
Yeah. You're an isolated case up there in Oregon. What about good karma? Let's look at that for a second.
Oh, good karma. You can build really good karma. Good karma is, even opening a door for somebody. Your intent there is to help them. Any karma that you build doing good for others or doing good for animals or doing good for the world, with the intent that you're not going to get anything back from it. Expectation comes into there. You do it because it makes you feel good. It makes you want to help. If you do it with expectation, you're going to be totally disappointed.
I totally got you there, and many of us don't look at it that way. We look at what's in it for me. Mm-hmm. I've changed all of that. Not that I gravitated toward that, but when you look at it in terms of, it just feels good. It feels good, and in a way, you are doing it for yourself. For that, I'm feeling good about taking care of that person. And if something positive comes back, hey, fantastic. But that should not be your intent.
Exactly. And you should do it because it makes you feel like, wow, I helped that person. And whether that person even acknowledges it or thanks you or, it doesn't matter what that other person's reaction is. That has absolutely nothing to do with it. It has to do with, that made me feel good. And then you let it go, because the expectation of, well, that made me feel good. Now, what is the universe going to do for me? That you just wiped out your whole good intent.
What are some of the best practices for karma? Just things that we should remember.
Just being peaceful in yourself and putting out love to the world in any way you can. Random acts of kindness, smiling at somebody. Sometimes somebody needs a smile. Saying hi to somebody as you walk down the street or nodding your head. Just we forget that these little things add up. You don't have to go out and buy somebody $100 gift and think that that's going to be a good karma. We also have to understand that when we do something, to let it go. I tell people, if you give somebody on the street begging for $20, you better let it go, because chances are they're not going to use it the way you want them to.
Say that last part again. I want to make sure I got that clear.
If you give somebody something, let the expectation go of what you expect them to do with it. I don't give people on the street money, but if they have a dog or they look like they need a meal, I'll go buy a meal and I'll drop it off with them. But if you give them money, chances are most people are going to go do, they'll either buy alcohol, drugs, or they'll go do something with it that you don't think is in their best interest. And you have to let that go. When you do something for somebody, whatever they take that gift and do with it, you have no control over.
Free will. We have free will.
We don't understand free will. We have so much free will, we don't understand free will.
It's funny you should say what you just said about giving somebody money. So I was at a convenience store. My daughter was in the car, and I was just going to run in and get a cup of coffee. And there was somebody who came up to my door and said, "Do you have any change?" And I said, "Not at this time." And, you know, there's a lot of people that do that. You wonder whether they're legit, whatever the case may be. But my intuition told me I should give them something. And I came out and I called him over to the car and I handed him a $10 bill. And he said, "Thank you." He was appreciative and then moved on. My daughter said, "Why did you do that? Why did you just hand him money?" And I said, "Something told me I should." And that's it. Just leaving it at that. Something told me I should. What he did with it, I'll never know. But I know that there was something that there was, it's higher, something at work there that made me want to do that. And
exactly.
I don't know what it was, and I don't need to know.
Your intuition. You know, we talked about that last time.
Yeah.
But there was something that, you know, and there are times when people will come up and ask, and your intuition says, you know, they've got more than they need, or, you know, they're lying to you, or, you know, your intuition tells you that, and you say, no, not today. And then there are some people that you go, wow, you know, this needs to be done. I can remember there was a guy one time outside of Walmart, and he had the sign up, you know, for money and food, and he had this dog with him. And I went back into Walmart, and I bought a 25-pound of dog food and a water dish and some water, and I gave it to him. And he just was so appreciative. I didn't give him a thing, but he was absolutely happy that his dog now had food for, you know, probably 2 weeks. But so, you know, your intuition will tell you stuff, and your intent goes, you know, your intent goes with intuition, which goes with karma. All of these energies are rolled up into one, you know, energy that goes out there. And like I say, it has to come back to you. It cannot go back to anybody else because it's your vibration, it's your energy, and nobody in this world has the same vibration that you do. You know, it's like the color red has a vibration to it, and every shade of color red has a different vibration from each other, and every note has a different vibration. And as humans, we all have different vibrations. We can have ones that are close to each other, but we're individuals. So that energy that you put out has to come back, and that's karma.
Have you ever done this? You do something for somebody, and it's a stranger, but you don't forget it. I remember all those. I was in a grocery store 2 years ago, and there was a woman on a little scooter, and she was trying to reach something in the frozen food section. And I turned around and I saw her trying to, you know, struggling a little bit. I went running. I basically jumped over displays to get to her because I wanted to help her and make her life easier. And, you know, just grabbed something, gave it to her. I said, "Is there anything else? I'll walk with you. I don't care."
Right. Right.
I will never forget it because I hope that I helped her, but also I helped me. It made me feel good.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And it's things like that that really add up to good karma. Those are those things that, you know, we don't recognize sometimes when something really good happens to us and we go, wow, I wonder where that came from. Well, that's our good karmic bank. That's the universe saying, you know, and good karma comes back within a certain time also, just like bad. The universe doesn't, you know, say, boom, here's, you know, you did something good, here's something good right back. They wait. It waits for a special timing, and then it will come back to you. And usually good karma comes back in miracles. We call them miracles. And that's what good karma is. And so if we expect it, we're not going to get it.
Yeah.
If we don't. And a lot of times, like that lady you helped, somewhere down the road, she also is going to remember it, and she's going to send you a blessing. You know, there was a one of my teachers. God, I'm trying to think of who this was. Anyway, she told me the story of this lady that was in a car accident, and and she was terribly, horribly hurt. You know, knocked out, terribly hurt, and the traffic was backing up, and this one lady was back about 4 or 5 or 6 cars, and she was looking around, and she went, "Oh, there's an accident. Geez, I just hope that person's okay." And, you know, everybody around her was, you know, getting angry, and horns were honking, and this one lady sat there and just said a prayer for whoever's in that accident. I have no idea who it is. I just hope they're okay. And about 4 months afterwards, this lady knocked on her door with a bouquet of roses, and she said to her, "When I was in an accident 4 months ago," she said, "I almost died, but she said, I had an out-of-body experience where I came up out of my car, and she said, I saw all these people in anger, yelling and mad at me, but she said, I saw a light, and she said, I came to your light, and she said, you said a prayer for me, and she said, I memorized your license plate."
Wow.
And she said, so when she came out of her coma, she looked up this license plate, found this lady, and went there to thank her.
Amazing how it all comes together.
That's how it all comes together. And even this gal said, oh my gosh, she remembered it. She remembered that prayer.
I pilot by this mantra, and I didn't invent this. I tweaked it, and I don't know who did it. Maybe Bob Marley, Shakespeare, I don't know who. But it's love everyone, trust few. That was a lesson for me. And always do the right thing for all. We can always say, yeah, I did the right thing for yourself, for all. And that's I'd love your opinion on that.
Yeah. And, a prayer that I pray for everybody is, let whatever needs to happen in the highest and best good for that soul.
In so many words, I have that on the wall of the office right next door to me. A little bit longer, but basically it says what you just said.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So you're not putting anything negative or positive on them. You're letting the universe handle what is supposed to happen to them.
Sort of like the Beatles song, Let It Be.
Yeah, exactly.
And that song, pinnacle point in my life, that I'll just share with you in very short time here. I was driving to the studio, needed an answer about something involving my daughter. And I knew that there has to be a reason. And I just said, please give me that. Give me that. Stop sign I'm waiting at like 2 miles away from here. And that song, Let It Be, popped in my head. There will be an answer. Walk into this office. Phone rings. It was the answer.
There you go.
And those lyrics are on my wall, too.
Yeah. Let it be.
Let it be.
And that's, if more of us learned that, we would live in peace.
Yeah. Yeah, 100%. And we're always looking to damn the other person. And I get it. People do things and you don't know why and it hurts and et cetera. I understand it. But you have to let, somebody else take the wheel. The universe is doing its thing. You have to be on its time. You can't be impatient.
Timing is everything.
It's so funny. Before we got together, I just got off the phone with someone, and they said that somebody they know was talking about animals and communicating with them. I'm not making this up. This is a minute before we got on here. And I said, would you believe that I'm talking to an animal communicator next? And they said, no way, that's impossible. No, I'm serious. So you will be referred, but I'm not even kidding that's what came up for me on the phone with somebody before we got together. Timing is everything.
Yeah, timing is everything.
You are amazing in everything that you offer, from animal communication, psychic connections, insights. I even said to this person, Shirley's knowledge of animals in general, take away the communicator part, is amazing. And your website, Shirley-Scott.com. You're reachable there. I do remember you can't be text because of
Nope.
where you are and just the logistics of where you're located. But your phone number's on there, and you have a landline, and you want to help people. And thank you so much for being here again.
Thank you, Steve. Thank you so much. You have a great day.
You too. We'll be right back. Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
Hi, this is Terry Crews, actor, former football player, game show host, father of 5, and all-around big dude. I'm also an expert on drama. I know all kinds of drama. There's the good kind that comes with having a house full of kids. There's the bad kind like season-ending injuries. There's the necessary kind like having an agent in Hollywood. And there's silly drama like the drama around my percolating pectorals. And then there's the drama you can skip.
Skip the drama that comes with not having your high school diploma or equivalency. Find free adult education classes near you and finish your high school diploma. Visit finishyourdiploma.org.
Or text diploma to 97779. Message and data rates may apply. Reply STOP to opt out. That's diploma to 97779. And leave the drama to actors like me.
Brought to you by the Dollar General Literacy Foundation and the Ad Council.